And finally, the session will be moderated by Ms. Lindsey Miller, Managing Partner of Mena Moonshots.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
We'll just move.
You're right.
We'll move towards you if you want.
No, I think this is okay, right? Super. As we were talking, we wanted to kick off, I think, by having everyone do a brief introduction about your journey so far and your current endeavors. So, Sheikh Majed, should we start with you?
Yeah, cool. So, Finyal Media, we started it where I was introduced to my co-founder, Mashari, who's in the crowd. And he understood I have a passion for podcasts, and he had his own podcast, and he said to me, look, to be able to do this long term, you need to build a company, a business around it. What do you think? Something like Gimlet? I was like, amazing, go for it. He was like, no, do you want to join me? I was like, oh, even better. So yeah, dove right in. And we're in our seed round. We're going to close hopefully before end of year, doing really well. We've got 5 shows, branded shows, a long schedule for the next year. It's super exciting to be in the industry.
And actually, this story of you not really recognizing what you were being asked in the beginning is on, I think, Yalla, the first.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyone who's interested, you get to really get like the first-hand journey as well. Tarek?
So Tarek, we founded Booklave in 2016. We were the first to start with audiobooks, premium audiobooks, and at the time, I remember publishers and authors didn't know what an audiobook was, so we had to kind of create an ecosystem or help in creating an ecosystem around this. So we basically started, it's Arabic audiobooks. We have also some Arabic magazines like the Harvard Business Review, MIT Tech Review, Popular Science. We're partners with Haykal Media and other players in the market. We're big believers in the power of audio and the power of audiobooks, not just audiobooks, but also audio in general. So it's good to see more and more players entering the audio space like Finyal Media, Kerning Cultures, and others. We just won earlier this year. We won one of the top prizes in the world, awards in the world for as audiobook publisher of the year from the London Book Fair Excellence Awards, representing the UAE. It was the first time a company from the UAE actually wins an award in this space. And we're carrying on forward. We're building new products. We're going into the English space, nonfiction. So we're always trying to look at the market and see where it's going and try to kind of innovate in the space.
Great. Ehab?
Yeah, I'm here presenting AlMentor.net. AlMentor is a digital learning platform, video-based. You think about Netflix, you think about iTunes. It's the same concept. Instead of getting the movie and put it in your library for a lifetime, it's getting a course and put in a lifetime. It's not necessarily academic courses in all verticals. And it's directed to Arabs all around the world, not only the region geographically, but Arabs all around the world. And we're serving the B2C market, B2B market, and we have some governmental initiatives supported by AlMentor also.
Right. One of the things that, as we were talking, really came out that was so interesting is what a huge demand there is for this content, and specifically for Arabic language content. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about specifically with Finyal was your journey from starting off with English content and then how you zeroed in on more Arabic content, and maybe we can take it from there.
So when we started out, it was sort of like in our gut to do the Arab content, but with the resources we had, we wanted to at least put out some content in English because we were comfortable to be able to host the shows, produce the shows, and get them to market, to understand the mechanics of how we actually put podcasts up and work on monetizing them. But when we did our first Arabic podcast, which is Alf Layla wa Layla, this is the stories in Arabic. We release them over Ramadan every 2 days, and with very little marketing to begin with, the organic reach, times 2, times 3, times 4 our expectation, was really the litmus test to prove that there is a demand, that you've also got word of mouth still playing a big role in getting your content out there, and ultimately that our gut sense was right. And so now we've doubled down on Arabic content. We've got 2 other shows in Arabic, and majority of our content for next year of 14 titles is in Arabic. And we know, even in a comparison to what we're finding on the platforms, there isn't much in terms of the podcasts that we enjoy from other markets like the US or from Europe that are delivering at that quality, that are delivering really our own identity back to the region. So that's why we founded the company on the basis that we would create content from the region for the region.
Right. And Tarek, we talked also about you. I think you started off with Arabic, and now, I don't know if I've got this right, and now you're looking at potentially also some English. Is that what I understood?
Yes, exactly. I mean, for Arabic, today Arabic on on consumer B2C is very hard to monetize. It still remains a challenge, I think, for everyone all across the board. When it came to audiobooks, we realized that for audiobooks to be monetized, we're looking at a market that's still not mature. It's not maturing fast as much as we anticipated. It's a 5 to 7 year thing. When we decided to enter into a space like the international, we saw a niche in the international English space, which will help us as well. I mean, kind of to also help the Arabics, because we realized we couldn't anchor our company only on Arabic content, unfortunately. So so we're looking at the international space so that we can then basically kind of have this content and feed off each other in terms of revenue and cash flow and partnerships. So, so that's basically why we kind of are looking at the international market. And there's an opportunity. I mean, we always tend to think that because we are here, we need to focus on this market.
Right.
But then again, we are in a global city, so we should think globally. And then we saw the opportunity for English content. So we're like, why not enter the international space?
Right. You follow the demand, basically. Like you follow where the where the demand is
Exactly.
taking you. And I think for AlMentor, we talked a little bit. You have both English and Arabic, I think.
Yeah, we have just some of the courses that we have in English, French, Spanish, but I would say that 90% of the content are in Arabic.
Right.
And the majority of the Arab region youth, if you will, and learners, potential learners, if they're sitting here with us right now, they wouldn't understand a word of what we are saying. And they want to learn. They want to be self-learners. They find something in the YouTube they cannot really consume in a good manner. Lynda.com, Udemy, Udacity, you name it. At the end of the day, all of this is English. And some trials in Arabic, but not with high quality. So we try just to close this gap, to present something in Arabic, very high quality, and to make sure that whoever is performing the course, professor, mentor, lecturer, not taking the Arab brain to any ideology. Just to make sure that the course is a course. If I'm talking right now in a parental guidance course or something like this, I will not take it to take your mind to somewhere else. Because now, little bit, the Arabic mindset is a little bit suspicious about this one. So we need to play it fair, safe, high quality. And yes, I believe that there is very high demand on the self-learning content in Arabic.
And how does it play out? Because your model is quite unique in the sense that you have the B2C side of it, and then you also have B2B, and I think you also have B2G, if we're going to, right?
Yeah.
And so how does that play out in terms of, first of all, the kind of foundation of your business, but also how you manage your resources and how you manage your content?
Yeah, you can look at it as it's the same kitchen. Just to understand the concept of AlMentor.net, it's composed of 3 industries. Media, where we have our studios to film the courses, and technology, where we have the platform itself, and the education or learning, okay? So it's the same kitchen. You produce the course. It's only one course, but an individual can go get the credit card or whatever the payment method online and buy it. This is the B2C, straightforward. The same course, we can take it if it's the content is meeting the requirements for an organization, and we go for a multinational, government, whatever, and say, this course, you can train your people with this course where they are still sitting in the premises. So with the same course, we can still sell it on a B2B. And then the marriage of the B2B and B2C, which is the sponsorship. Lots of initiatives nowadays in Saudi Arabia, here in UAE, in Bahrain, in Egypt, and we are working in these initiatives in order to deliver the messages related to continuous learning.
Right.
Something related to the marriage, something related to the entrepreneurship, and you name it.
And Tarek, we had an interesting conversation about that B2B aspect and how people kind of value it. So I think it's interesting to hear about that, and then maybe we can bounce it over and see if the experience is common.
Yeah, I mean, we are a B2C platform. We're a consumer-facing platform. B2B is great if you want cash flow, if you want to get some scale. But I think there's a trap, because eventually, if you're selling, let's say, 10,000 licenses to Emirates, it doesn't mean 10,000 people are going to be using your platform.
Right.
It's going to be a minority of those. We tend to not like using things for free sometimes. If we're not paying for it, we don't use it. And then if your deal expires, a lot of those people will not sign, majority will not sign up voluntarily. And what happens is you have high churn rate. That high churn will show up in your numbers, and that will create question marks. If you look at Netflix or even Audible, they actually didn't go into B2B till very, very recently. They started B2B. They were focusing on a consumer platform. They were focusing on product. Because when you go B2B for our space, then you're building a totally different product.
Right.
So I think you have to be focused on that. So I think that's one of the reasons we saw B2B as a trap. Although it's important because it can get you some cash flow, especially in our part of the world where it's difficult to monetize on a consumer as B2C.
Well, and I think the engagement, like one of the things that's so different about creative business models is that the engagement with your customers is something that is so closely monitored and is so key to what you're doing. And I know that you guys really monitor your engagement and really push it. And I wonder, how B2B engagement compares to B2C engagement. That B2B has a bit more of a tendency to maybe be taken for granted, or if that's your experience.
I think with our situation as Finyal Media, the B2B relationship and the B2C relationship is very different because the content is free for the customer, essentially as understood as consumers, and they get to decide what's successful and what is not. For the B2B relationships that we have, we're essentially giving them access to our listenership and our portfolio, essentially. Now, as the B2C relationship grows and you have a larger portfolio, you can start to slice it differently, you can start to draw certain sort of analytics, and the better you can demonstrate that to B2B, you'll always have your early adopters who are saying, okay, no, I get what this is going to do down the line, and we want on it now. But there are people that, for the lack of a better way to say it, don't understand the medium, especially in creative space. So they're thinking, well, what are you compared to social media? Like, there's a lot of differences. Yeah. First of all, for podcasts and for the platforms we're talking
music,
they're opt-in, right?
Right?
People are coming in and choosing to listen to what we're creating. So they've already made a mental decision to commit their time to it. Yeah. It's not social media where you're getting sprayed and scrolling, waiting for a dopamine hit. They've already understood, like, I subscribe, follow. And that's where also when you are speaking to the B2Bs on how you're going to at least deliver the message to the end consumer on that part in a way that's still in line with the experience, rather than, what, so for instance, radio is done where they've taken audio bites and just really sort of all over the place, where 1 minute you're listening to somebody speak and then ads are coming and interrupting the experience. And that experience and narrative is what's going to be the journey down the road for audio, because it's very intimate. I mean, we all know here, when you're listening to someone's voice or a couple people's voice, or you feel like you're sitting into a conversation, you have built a sort of an environment and an experience. As soon as you disrupt that, you break the relationship, both with the listener and you fail for the business.
Yeah, I would love to hear from all of you about how you view advertisers and advertising and how you're kind of grappling with that, because it's been traditionally such an important, source of money for creative businesses, and there's a lot of pushback either way. So I would love to hear, what everybody thinks of, integrating advertising into their model.
Yeah, but we're already introducing this fourth revenue stream, if you will, in AlMentor.net, because 50% of the content that we have is for free. And we use it to give back to the community, and also we use it as a traffic building, just to get people. And it will be something to encourage the mentors, because we agree with our mentors that if you're going to deliver a course on AlMentor.net, you have to give me 2 talks for free to give back to the community. If he knows or she knows that this talk for free may generate revenue out of the advertising, it will be even something good.
Right.
So may and may not get good revenue, but at the end of the day, it's giving back to the community with a potential revenue also coming. So they will put some efforts in order to get a better quality for this one. The good thing about it that the audiences now, they are accepting the concept. They don't mind to go to YouTube and then there is an advertising or something like this. At the beginning, it was intimidating, but right now, I believe that it is acceptable. So yes, AlMentor.net is adopting this, and we're trying to hunt and get some good revenue out of it, inshallah.
So we don't have an advertising. We don't make money through advertising. We're more on subscription or a la carte, and that's because that's how the audiobook space is. You know, when it comes to licensing, you can't monetize through advertising, because one thing is you need a lot of scale to make money on advertising basis. So we don't. I mean, we were not in the way we also use advertising from user acquisition point of view. I guess I don't know if that's kind of part of your question, or is it more on how if we make advertising ourselves, if you monetize through advertising? Was that the question?
Well, I was actually thinking more about advertising as a revenue stream for you, but it leads into something else that we talked about, which is the role of celebrity, and how the role of celebrity in pushing content internationally is so important. So, I think in all of your different platforms, if you look at a parallel, you'll see that. And so I'm really interested. Maybe I can hear all of you, but starting with Tarek, about how that's playing out for you.
I mean, you know what? When for us, when we started, this was a new medium. So when we started audiobooks, it was a new medium. It's a lot of the challenges that Finyal and AlMentor focus on, because it's kind of new things that we were introducing to the market. If we wanted to create awareness, if you want, in a big way with very minimum marketing dollars. So then we look at celebrities, and we actually started with celebrities. So we started with a few books by Khalil Gibran, for example, and we recorded those with celebrity voice actors from Lebanon, and those kind of voices had pull power, and we didn't even need to do advertising for these kind of titles, and they were just one tweet or one thing on Facebook from that voice actor. Obviously, Khalil Gibran is dead, but from the voice actors, that helps a lot. And we also, a lot of the time, we kind of, for living, popular living, best-selling authors, they actually also promote their own titles, because they want to see their the more they promote their titles, the more they make money on our platform through royalties. So I think that's one way where we kind of realize that's one way to make, to kind of get some scale with very minimum or to no marketing spent.
I think, so for podcasting, the trick is going to be the balance of what you're doing with advertising. My example in my mind is how magazines have become, one page, one ad, one page, one ad, where you're kind of losing the reason people are going to that content. And we don't want to do that with audio either. So the importance is, yes, the advertising is a revenue stream, and there are many others. A lot of different sort of audio mediums are either using a subscription model or using other sort of sponsorships. When it comes to celebrity, and sort of in terms of revenue, we're exploring others, but using celebrity to get you traction can also be tricky when the celebrities have the upper hand, essentially.
Right.
So we've had podcasts where we've brought on very big names and had them guest star. So the challenge, one is, if they're an influencer and they have this attention, to interview them and go in depth on a matter or another. Well, actually, people usually pay to have them do shout outs or whatever on their platform. So the trade-off becomes difficult, because they say, well, I'm not going to get anything out of this relationship. You're getting it all to gain because I'm here. That can happen sometimes. And then the other challenge is with celebrities, mediums. So whether they're movie stars or whether they're influencers or otherwise, where you say, no, we're on podcasts. Are you going to be able to translate their audience to podcasts? And it's really just about educating the market. So we found what a lot of the time is really the way it works is we're on social media. So celebrity on social media is great. And if you can get somebody to tweet out or they enjoy it, that works. But ultimately, what I think you're alluding to is when they go, okay, now I want to do my own podcast.
Right.
Can we then be the solution provider? And that's a different revenue stream. That's a different way to operate, to say, look, before you start buying microphones and figuring out how to run your own show, come to us. Let's work out a format that works with your identity, your messaging, and what you really want to achieve with that. And we can be the solution provider. We do that currently today for large companies.
Yes.
We can do that for identities as well. It's just about understanding the medium of podcasts not being sort of viral celebrity that you get on social media today. It's a different play. You're looking to create either a strong brand or marketing, or to create a reservoir of knowledge that's a bit more in depth, and be able to help them sort of navigate this medium better.
Yeah.
That's how we would.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense.
Yeah, and AlMentor platform, we have superstars from all the verticals, but we just set this rule that we will not accept more than 5% of the population to be superstar, or just not to perceive AlMentor as masterclass.
Right.
At the end of the day, I need the subject matter expert who can deliver his message to only 400 people. This is good. So in order to find the right celebrity with a real content, and which is not related to politics or religion, it's something technical, and can deliver in a little bit lecturing or academic way, this is not easy.
Right.
We have not only Arabs, but also international celebrities, like, for example, Armando Diego Maradona, the football star. Not a typical mentor, and definitely it's not academic, but he is a subject matter expert. As you've kindly said, there is something happening here. As you kindly said, that it's a little bit tricky when dealing with them, because not only as what you have kindly mentioned, but also dealing with the celebrities. It's not the typical mentor. Yeah, you're right. So I recall one of them, a superstar, and he sat like this, concentrating for 30 minutes. And the guy, this is just a course. What you're doing? It's not a big deal. I believe that if you have something, you just say it, and that's it. Yeah. But we have to be very humble in dealing with them, because they're used to deal like this. So yes, I believe that it is another pillar, but we're not putting the bets on it yet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's another thing I would just add, where we're looking at celebrity to draw people to our medium, essentially in audio or video. The challenge is when people assume their actual presence in an audio format is going to draw the crowd, it's very, very interesting to observe when you take away the visual, if they can continue to perform and hold attention in the audio. Because we found that there are podcasts that work really well when you have good chemistry, because when all you have are voices, chemistry, or when we have somebody who explains really well. There are superstar teachers that are their own celebrities in education because they can get an idea across. And when you have audio as your only medium and your only sense, how you're delivering that along with any accompanying sounds, some celebrities cannot operate in that medium. And that's why they're on a visual medium or otherwise. So they're not a holy grail or any sort of thing to aspire to. And I think we've all learned, where you're speaking about how to handle celebrities, where some of them are just not suited to the medium, or some of them cannot deliver for themselves as well as you what you hope from having them on. We've had one or two celebrities that did really well and went very personal into conversations, and that others were just on the surface and weren't getting into the depth that we were hoping.
Yeah, that's a really good point, that that it's especially the audio is a very kind of different format than the visual. So it's those that can transition, it's not automatic. One of the things that I think is so interesting is we were all so much in agreement that there's a big demand for content from this region, of this region, in Arabic, also in other languages. So why isn't it available? What is it that you guys feel is the biggest reason that it's lagging? And maybe this ties into some of your challenges, setting a business up out of this.
In our space, it's a little bit complicated industry. As I said, that it's a marriage of three industries together, the technology and education and media. And I believe that in the coming 5 years, we will see really good competition in my space, in the continuous learning. And I'm hearing now about a good initiatives being done now, being cooking now. And we're happy with this. Because we're knocking the doors and opening the doors to convince people what is the continuous learning and what is the digital video-based continuous learning. So we're paying a lot for this. And I believe that this is coming. And it's a new industry at the end of the day, yes? And also it's very important not to look at only our region, but we need to play the role of the bridge between this region and outside. We need to teach people outside the region our culture, our language, and also to take some languages and cultures and to put it in the platform from the continuous learning concept. With this, the space will be bigger and bigger with the time.
Absolutely.
I would only say, to add to that, that basically, when you look 5 years ago, there was nothing.
Right.
Today, it's growing, and in 5 years, there'll be plenty. So it's where we are in time.
True, yeah.
I think, it's when you look at books, for example, we still have a supply problem regarding our time's up. We cut it?
No, I'm not sure. We'll finish.
Who? Oh, we've got to be on the next stage?
Oh, we do, okay.
Okay, cool. Well,
So to wrap it up, I guess we say thank you. And
thank you, everybody,
thank you
who
for
attended.